Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that I actually don't have anything today. The only show that welcomes you into the December month, the last month of 2023. Can you believe it? Another year in the books. I'm your host, Ryan Nicey. With me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing today?
I've been making an observation that we might have the worst live podcast time in the history of wrestling podcasts. A 9 a.m. start or whatever.
9:30.
9:30 on a Sunday. Yeah, that ain't it. But we keep.
Well, you set your
we
alarm
roll
for
on.
9 a.m. and you get 30 minutes to get your shit together.
I'm not talking about you and me. I'm talking about
Oh.
everyone else that ever wants to watch. That's why people watch after. But hello. I'm here. We have nothing to talk about today. I'm just going to spoil it for everyone.
Well, the true diehards of Ring Post Radio wake up 9 a.m. and tune in.
I think the true diehards just wait until it's out on MP3, but that's fine.
That's pretty fair. That might also be fair. Well, either way, we appreciate you, whether you're watching us live, watching us after the fact, or listening to us after the fact. We appreciate you nonetheless. We got the Spotify rap numbers that came in, Scotty. So yeah, we definitely appreciate everybody.
I saw some of us in the top 5. I saw us get a number 1 spot. Shout out Dylan Murray. Appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, a couple people tweeted out their Spotify raps, and we were in there.
Yeah, I don't know why you listen to us, but hey, keep doing it.
I'm trying to pull up the graphs. Where did they go? I sent them in the Slack. I don't know why I can't find them.
We talked a lot about something, I'm pretty sure.
We talked about the show. We got our crap together for the show. There he is. Yeah. So according to
we prepare.
you have no idea how much we prepare for the show, and it ends.
This week was like
this week I was scrounging for topics. We'll get to that.
The Observer gave him nothing.
Spotify Wrapped. For this is again just for Spotify listeners. Of course, we have listeners on iTunes and watching us live now and all this stuff. We were, of all podcasts, there are 8 listeners out there that we are their number 1 podcast for the entire year.
Crazy. That's absurd.
22 people. For 22 people, we were in their top 5. For 30 people, in their top 10.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate it. That's arguably too many, but we'll take it.
We were on Spotify up 20% in listeners, up 7% in streams, 82% in followers, massive growth on Spotify. So obviously we appreciate everyone that listens to us, not just on Spotify, but of course, wherever you listen to us or watch us or whatever we're doing. And today we, of course, to thank you, we have a doozy of an episode.
Oh yeah. We got a whole lot of nothing.
I like to call a lot of quick hitters of news items.
You call it quick hitters, I call it nothing.
I call it the first hour. But yeah,
show's over.
If you have any comments or questions about anything we're talking about today, if you're watching us live, make sure you put it in the chat. I think the only chat we have is YouTube, so that chat will have to do. Or of course, you can call us at 2525 ring PR. That's 2525-746477. Let's get into the show here, Scotty. Is there a quick hitter you want to start with? I mean, we got a lot of nonsense. Is there something you really want to get into first? I mean, there's a couple.
CM Punk, huh?
Yeah, okay. Let's start off with CM Punk. Why not? He's doing something.
Just get it out of the way.
Yeah, well, let's rip the CM Punk Band-Aid off. So yes, CM Punk.
Sorry, I was ripping the Band-Aid off.
CM Punk finally made his re-debut at Survivor Series that we talked about last episode. But of course, he debuted on Raw to massive ratings. WWE did the fantastic thing of the first hour being commercial free, and then never having Punk on that first hour. I'm trying to remember. I think they had Randy Orton that first hour.
Yeah, he kicked off the show.
But they had a massive boost in ratings. Its best 18 to 49 key demo rating since the Monday after WrestleMania this April. Some massive news. And of course, you get the CM Punk promo where he sort of just says, I'm home. Hell has frozen over. Yada, yada, yada. Scotty, what were your big takeaways? I think a lot of people, the online topic of conversation I've sort of seen is post Survivor Series. Oh man, that felt like a pretty big moment. And then post Monday Night Raw, it was sort of like, all right, that was a promo. What did you
Yeah,
think?
so like I look at it in different ways. I think the promo itself was like kind of a swing and a miss for the hardcore fans that are tuning in looking for him to say more than just something about WWE, right? Everyone's looking for those AEW comments or something of the sorts. And we've learned since then that there's NDAs to stop him from doing so. So, taking that out of the picture, it was fine. Like, I think it's a little overblown how bad like people are just saying it was like this utter failure. I think a lot of it was said to be used against him, truthfully, right? Like the I'm home stuff, like that's going to be used against him. Everything that he's ever done will probably be used against him in stories, and that's how they're going to get better stories and better moments. Because I think someone did make a great point. I don't remember the tweet, but what is CM Punk when he's not the rebellious, you know, wrestler against the system or whatever, right? Because that as a babyface, especially that's from Chicago. Because here's the thing: WWE fans like the people that run the WWE now, right? Like people like these folks. They like Adam Pearce. They like the general manager. So he's not rebelling against like anyone. So I think in short order, he's going to be a heel. I don't think it's going to take long. I think they're going to run with the crowd for now because listen, this month of December, WWE does not care about. The fact that they just got that number because he was there, they have to be pumped about it. But again, December is not a month they care about. They're going to ramp it up in January. Him and Seth Rollins are going to build to their match. Listen, the best part of CM Punk content from Monday Night Raw was Seth Rollins' promo when he called him a hypocrite and moved on. CM Punk saying the "I'm just here for money" thing, that's probably the truest thing he said in his entire promo. My favorite thing from his promo was giving the shout out to AJ Lee, obviously. I was like, oh, well, I didn't think we were going to talk about her. So that's nice. But it's wait and see for me. Like, it's wrestling, right? You can build stories. You can obviously. I don't think his heart's in it like it was in AEW at one point. I think we all know that. I think I'm not here to be friends. I'm here to make money. Like that's true. No shit, that's true. Why else would he be wrestling right now? He is here to make money. I think that's okay. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I sort of agree exactly what you're saying. We know all these things that he's here to make money. He's here to do all these things. If you want to look into the here to make a few bucks or whatever that first line was, maybe there's lore elements in there. I think the only thing I push back in terms of the discourse is the idea, like, so everyone's sort of like coming into it is like, what is, like you said, what is CM Punk rebelling against? He really can't rebel against anything because the crowd, this WWE crowd, all those CM Punkers back in the day are all gone. They're watching either AEW, they're just not watching wrestling at all. Yeah. And on top of that, you have all these new fans that seemingly Peacock has brought in, that have been popped up in the past year or so. So really, there's
wrestling fans.
Yeah, new wrestling fans that join WWE because they like watching WWE so far. So CM Punk can't rebel against that. And a lot of people are thinking like, oh, well, CM Punk's not going to work in this company because he has nothing to rebel against. And my thought is, what did he have to rebel in AEW? He was sort of rebelling against WWE by existing, right? Yeah. But he wasn't really like rebelling. His purpose almost in AEW was to like put over the next generation of talent. And that's what he did. And I think there's a chance he could do that again in WWE. I don't know what the next generation of talent is. I can't see CM Punk putting over Dominic Mysterio, but we never know, I guess.
I think maybe part of the argument in AEW was he was the biggest star. So it just didn't matter what his character was. Like he was the biggest star in the company, no question about it, no matter what people want to say.
Yeah, totally fair.
But now that he's not, right? Now that he's not, he has to set himself apart a little bit more. What is he? And I don't know if people remember this. CM Punk's a fantastic heel when he flips that switch. Hopefully he finds some of it in him that really drives him in these stories. Considering that the three people that we have heard he's scheduled to feud within the next however long he's around is Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm gonna be confident he can at least dig his teeth into one of those, if not all of them.
I pray to God he can dig his teeth into at least some of those.
I
But
think Stone Cold Steve Austin, he definitely could.
yeah,
Um,
I think
just
I think
confidently.
yeah, I think CM Punk is very smart and knows enough to quickly realize, well, I can't be the rebellious character. He hasn't always been the rebellious character. Obviously, that was what he was most over in WWE.
Yeah.
But that crowd is different, and that crowd is something else. So he has to obviously change it. Yeah, let's talk about that. So there are reports coming out about CM Punk, who he's going to be facing. Obviously, Seth Rollins is up there as a report. There's a report about Roman Reigns, and actually, I've heard that report might be like, oh, it might not be Roman Reigns for like
A while.
a while.
I saw they went as far as saying that could be the way to finally turn Roman babyface. And I was like, that's hilarious.
Like the crowd isn't super cheering for him right now. Yeah, but another report that came out is that WWE, quote, this is from the Wrestling Observer. I don't know if he is taken from else. I guess Fightful is the one that originally reported it.
Yeah, Select had it.
WWE is optimistic that a match between CM Punk and Stone Cold Steve Austin could happen. So much so that they think that could be a match that happens at WrestleMania. So insane. That is an insane thought. We already had Austin come back against Kevin Owens, and now he may come back against CM Punk. That could be the WrestleMania match. We talked about it last week where I said, like, what would be the best match at WrestleMania? We talked about Seth. We talked about Roman. You know, CM Punk would be a good way to avoid ruining those stories that you have going on with Roman and Cody and Seth and whoever else. If you pull Steve Austin out of the cryo chamber and put him in a match with CM Punk, hey, that's gonna work. I think that's gonna work.
I saw some people say like, you know what? This doesn't interest me anymore. Bullshit. Like, absolutely not. Here's the thing with those two. The whole entire buildup is the story ahead. I don't care about the match. It's just the one or two promo battles you get between the two, right? That matters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't care about anything else. And ultimately, like, I watched the Stone Cold fight from 2 years ago against Kevin Owens. It was a great time. Like, it's so easy. And I think CM Punk could just be as easy, truthfully. Like, I think it's fine. It would be a hell of a addition to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone has figured out what most of the top of the card is, right?
Yeah.
Obviously Roman and Cody. Like, I think I don't know who said it this week, but that's been planned as early as a year ago that this would be the main event. I was like, and people thought it wasn't happening.
Yeah, you're telling me that it's not The Rock? I thought The
I
Rock.
know, I'm shocked. So Roman and Cody, which is obviously going to be humongous because those two have somehow not lost any of their steam despite wrestling a year ago at WrestleMania. Seth versus someone. You could throw a number of people into the hat, into the whatever.
The ring.
The ring. There you go. Could be Gunther. Could be Drew McIntyre. We don't know.
Yeah.
Orton. Well, Orton's on SmackDown now, so
tough. Yeah. I forgot about that.
But by the way, Orton was fantastic in his return. This guy's like out of his mind. Anyways, you have Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch and so on and so forth. So you have like all these big matches. You had CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in there. I mean, come on, guys. Like I know like some people are just over CM Punk, and that's fine. I get it. But if you're not over CM Punk and that doesn't interest you, you're lying. You're just lying. I'm not saying it's gonna be like this classic or even as good as it would have been 10 years ago. I'm not silly. But you know what? It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's gonna be at the very least surreal, I think.
Yeah.
Seeing these two in the ring. But yeah, it's an interesting possibility. I mean, are you, after seeing the promo on Monday, are you more or less or about the same, I guess, excited about Punk's WWE future?
I'm about the same. Like it didn't. I thought it was a bad first promo, especially what all of us expected.
Hmm.
But again, it's just the first promo. Like I
Yeah,
think he's someone that can build, right? He can build more. He if he's invested, this is the biggest question. I don't know if he's ever going to be invested, but if he finds himself invested in a Seth Rollins story or a Roman Reigns story or something, then it's going to be good because
yeah.
that's what he does. The Roman Reigns story writes itself with Paul Heyman anyway. So, who I don't think he speaks to anymore. That's another fun part of a lot of this journey is that he doesn't speak to most of these people anymore outside of like it's gonna be fun. Just like these people that are like trashing on him because essentially he left them all in the dust. Um, and I think that's gonna be an easy way to make him a heel or babyface, depending on the story at hand.
I think it's funny that let's just assume that CM Punk doesn't speak to anyone anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
I just know who was they report? I think Kofi, who they used to be bus mates.
yeah, and
Like they
Bailey
used
was
to,
the other one.
and Bailey are the two that like loved him
I like how that report
back.
came out. I like how that
Yeah, I
report was
was
like,
like,
well, people like him.
yeah.
People like him in the back. Don't worry.
Well, you know, it's important. But hey, we
I'm
got some.
glad Kofi was. Why was Kofi there? Was he just there to do a?
He was on Raw. He's on Raw.
No, I thought that report came out after Survivor Series.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he likes to sit back and catering. Who knows? I don't know.
Was he? Well, were they there because they had that little? Was they in a Ruffles spot? They probably think they
Yeah, I
were,
think they were.
or a Slim Jim spot. I think.
Where's our truth made his grand return? Correct.
Of course. Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see how everything plays out. It's just, clock is ticking. How long do you think CM Punk stays in this company, or can last without losing his mind, losing his entire gourd?
I think he's gonna be part time, so I think he can last a little bit longer.
Yeah,
Um, he definitely gets to WrestleMania,
yeah, 100%.
and
I
after
think
that
WrestleMania is
payday, anything's open. All right, guys. He gets his main event finally that he wanted decades ago. I wanted the WrestleMania event. They give it to him. All right, see you guys.
All right, and then just turn. He walks through the curtain, just
Yeah.
punches Seth Rollins in the face, and walks out.
I will say the Royal Rumble, based off of like what's currently planned, it looks like it's going to be the two Royal Rumble matches,
Of course.
Seth and Punk, and then
Yeah.
Roman and Randy. That's
Yeah.
like the most stacked Rumble they've ever done in a while, at least in a while, because they have a Royal Rumble itself that's like, oh, anyone could actually win for once.
Yeah.
What an idea.
R-Truth comes out, wins it all.
The
I knew
dream.
it.
Thank
I
you.
knew it. Yeah. Let's move on.
People over there with
Why did you say you
if you
said that
feel me, say what's up.
why are you saying it like a slow R&B rap song? Like,
I don't know if you've ever seen you probably haven't, but if you ever watch the Uno party on Up Up Down Down,
oh
Tyler
yeah.
Breeze in the middle of like the game would be like, people over there, what's up? If you feel me, say what's up.
Anyways, AEW. Let's talk about AEW. AEW is sort of pushing back on the perception that's sort of been giving to them over the past couple of months. According to the Observer, quote, those internally in AEW have argued that they believe the perception from the outside that AEW is a declining company is a massive disconnect, citing the huge increase in revenue and that they are so far ahead as an overall business from where they were at the start of 2023, and that the year overall has to be called a massive success, particularly the second half of the year. From an actual annual profit situation, 2024 would in theory be in line to perform better than this past year, one would presume, because they're going to get a TV deal, yada, yada, yada. On top of that, AEW All-In tickets went on sale this past Friday. And according to WrestleTix, so far, they have distributed 33,923 tickets for a setup of 44,000. Obviously, they had 81,000 last August. and they are a little below what they were last year, but it doesn't matter. 30, almost practically 34,000 tickets. That's an insane number. That's an insane win. And with I don't know, months left to build, I think they can
You see
easily sell way more.
34,000?
Yes, 34,000 tickets have
Yeah, that's
already been
insane.
distributed.
I
Yeah,
had
that's
no
already
idea.
insane.
I didn't know that. And what do they have set up for, like 44 or something?
Correct.
All right, well, they're gonna open that up, but
And
cool.
they have 9 months to build to sell more tickets.
Hey, you think we'll get a card a little bit earlier this time around?
I pray to God we will. I pray to God
That's
we don't get it.
that's incredible though. Like no matter how you look at it,
Mhm.
it's incredible to have 34,000 all this time out because I remember seeing them running it back instantly. I was like, I don't know, man. That's a choice. But like if you remember the All In show, everyone I know that was there absolutely loved that show. No matter what you feel about MJF versus Adam Cole, that atmosphere was out of this world for that. So
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter. And it's gonna be Ospreay in the main event. So
that's a
you
great
know,
point. That's a great
gonna
point. Yeah,
it writes itself.
I think Dave makes a good point also in the Observer that he has, that reminder of, hey, well, also don't forget that they are selling these tickets at a higher price.
Yeah.
So they are already, I think he said they're already at like I don't know, I'm getting the number wrong. I thought he said he was already at like a $4 million gate or something like that, something insane like that. I'll double
That's
check that.
that might be right.
But yeah, because they're selling the tickets for more money, they don't have to sell as many tickets. They don't have to sell 81,000 tickets like they did last
Yeah,
August to crack their
yeah.
gate.
On the end of the like all the other numbers that we talked about before, all in, um, they're about to get a TV deal that's
Yep.
going to be more big money. Like all the people that were like, I thought AEW was failing. I thought it. No, 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 no. People need to understand what the conversation is when it comes to AEW. AEW has not been failing. Sure. Are the shows as packed as they were at the beginning? No,
Are there
not
roughly
always.
1,000 less people in the arenas? Yeah, maybe.
But they're still selling tickets. They're still bringing in people watching their shows on TV. They
Mhm.
still have the best pay-per-views in pro wrestling. Like this is the way you have to look at it. And no one ever said they weren't a financial success. No one's
Yeah.
ever said that. They just want the product to be better that they're watching. That is all we're asking. And guess what?
The product to be better and the ticket sales are, they are declining. The ticket
Product
sales.
goes up. If the product goes up, ticket sales go up because there'll
Yeah.
be a hot product. You know what I watched in WWE over the past 2 years? That. And look
Yeah.
at them. They're red hot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like yeah, the product right now is something that you and I have spoken about several times about how we're not really into a lot of it right now. The ticket sales in terms of being the physical tickets being distributed are down. There are roughly 1,000 less people in the buildings than they were earlier this year or last year. However, the revenue is still high because they are still selling the tickets for a higher price. They said at the latter half of the year, that's all in Wembley, 81,000 tickets sold. That's running monthly pay-per-views. The business is
Pay-per-view is still doing damage.
yeah, pay-per-views are still doing gangbusters. Like they are still having a great financial year. And if they can continue doing what they're already doing,
Yeah.
turn sort of their product around. I think personally, if they had a better product, like you said with WWE, how they're kind of turning the product around now, if AEW becomes a better product that you and I are more into, or all this other stuff,
We
then
will sell more tickets for them.
yes, right now it's money on the table that they're leaving. If they can turn that product around, that money's back. They'll even have a better year on top of whatever TV deal they may get in
Yeah.
2024.
And I have all the confidence they can. That's the thing. I think some people think like it's doomsday. No, no. I know they can. I watched Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston kick each other's asses last night on Collision, and it was the best thing we've seen on TV in months.
Yeah,
And this is coming from someone that really liked Dynamite this week. But
yeah,
it's so easy for this company. You put on great wrestling, and guess what? The people are going to love it. There's still going to be like Dynamite this week. There's still the little things that I'm not loving, but you know what? I can look past that if there's just greatness on the rest of the show, which there was.
Yeah. This past Dynamite was pretty good.
More great wrestling, less of the spooky garbage and the devil and all this ridiculous stuff. It's very easy. I can deal with all that, like I said, if I'm getting the great wrestling, which guess what? Right now, I am. Shout out Mark Briscoe.
Exactly.
Stud.
Exactly.
Guy's stud.
That match. Yeah, that Roosh Mark Briscoe match. If Roosh didn't get injured, that match I would have been like, easy, 4 stars. Like easy.
Roosh is
great match.
facing Moxley this week.
I know. They faced each other earlier in the year. I don't even remember that match at all.
I just remember Roosh versus Danielson.
That's all I remember. It's Roosh versus Danielson.
I think about it every night and day.
I keep thinking about that match.
Spread my wings and fly away.
Yeah, but yeah, the financial success, despite declining numbers in some aspects, in terms of physical things and ratings or whatnot, they're still making money. There's still a ginormous financial success. They're still going to be a financial success. And it's just a matter of time before they make even more money. And like we said, if they turn a little product around, I think like you said, or like I said, sorry, I think they're leaving a little bit of money on the table. So if they can turn the product around just a little bit and make it more wrestling oriented, like we're talking about, then I think, 2024 is set up to be a ginormous year.
I look forward to their TV deal. I think the industry is waiting on Raw, and then they'll get theirs. But it sounds like Raw's pretty close with whoever it ends up being, because that's what Triple H and Nick Khan were doing this past Monday. So per Meltzer. So here we go.
Yeah, I think you're right. Speaking of, speaking of, I don't know if you'll see it as a low light or a positive or whatever, but speaking of things changing in AEW, QT Marshall as
Marshall.
Sorry, my apologies, sir. My apologies. QT Marshall announced in a Twitter post this past week that he is leaving AEW. In then Twitter post, he said, "Thank you, AEW. Thank you, Tony Khan. I've had the privilege of being here since day one, and I've written over 750 formats of AEW, and always with pride. As much as I've enjoyed being a VP, manager of talent relations, and wearing a myriad of hats, the company has changed a lot since 2019 and is heading in a different direction, and I feel that it's best I do the same, as we only get one chance to go all in. I've officially resigned from AEW and will have fully fulfilled all obligations by the end of 2023. And it continues with more thanks to everyone in the back. So he is an interesting person that just right off the bat, before we get to this Nick Hausman report, he's an interesting person that leaves AEW because, his on-screen character has really been nothing more than like a lower card act.
2 packs of ass.
2 packs of ass, as a great man once said.
I believe that was Jordan Patu once upon a time on Twitter.
But he, behind the scenes, as he said here, VP, manager of talent relations, myriad of different hats. At one point in time, at the very beginning, he was like a number 2 person, right, in the company. He was a person that was helping TK basically work a lot of the behind the scenes aspect of a wrestling show. But now with the Nightmare family quickly leaving this not quickly, but slowly leaving this company.
No, it was pretty quick.
It's fairly, I guess.
To me, once Cody left, the Nightmare family left. So
no, QT was still there, is what I mean. But what I mean to say is that QT at one point in time was really heavily involved in the product of AEW. Back when, if you want to talk, he's an interesting person because back when the feeling was there, QT Marshall was sort of the second person in charge. He no longer has been the second person in charge.
Feeling, question mark?
That's kind of what I'm trying to broach here, is that he was the number 2 person in charge back when the feeling was around, and he has not been the number 2 in charge ever since Jimmy Jacobs and Bryan Danielson have come in the company, and he has gone down the totem pole, obviously. However, there is also the aspect of this Nick Hausman article that has come out that he somehow talked to people in QT Marshall's camp, He's always in people's camps. This Nick Hausman.
Always.
He said, based on speaking of those close to QT Marshall, that's probably just QT Marshall, his quote, AEW moving in a new direction comment was alluding to the fact that he believes AEW is heading in a more New Japan related direction that is more focused on matches than storytelling. When asking around about why Khan is going that way, one source told flatly, TK has always liked that style. So that's kind of what I'm bringing up here is that QT Marshall has been at the beginning and been the time when he is in the feeling. He's no longer in charge. The feeling has been lost, but he also wants it to be less New Japan style and more story stuff. But it feels like to you and I, the lack of New Japan style, the increase of sports entertainment style is what caused the feeling. So I'm all over the place on this phrasing in these quotes and articles. What is your take on this whole QT Marshall leaving AEW thing?
What? The New Japan thing, yeah, that's when it all ended for me. I was like, all right, well, I don't know if he knows this, but New Japan tells some of the best stories in pro wrestling through their matches.
Yeah, there is a full disconnect by that New Japan quote.
And I think a lot of AEW's best matches and best stories have happened through the matches throughout the years, right? Mm-hmm. So that's when I was like, oh, okay, good riddance then. I was like, if that's what you think, it's like, then you don't understand a completely different side of the business, which is Japanese professional wrestling and the way stories are told there. Especially to a worldwide audience.
I'll say not just another side of the business, another side of I think like wrestling philosophy. Now, granted, he probably knows more about wrestling than I do. But
yeah,
this idea of you can tell stories through matches, I feel like that's a whole part of it.
I was listening to The Observer this week, radio probably, and Meltzer was talking about how he really wants to be a pro wrestling star.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've heard that as well.
I don't know if he knows this. He's not going to be. He's just not he's not that guy. You know, if it's not happening in AEW, I can promise you it's not happening in WWE. If anything, you're going to be brought into WWE as a backstage consultant because Cody Rhodes got you a job. Right? Like that's what's going to happen. If he wants to be a wrestling star, have fun in AAA. I know that's where you're working. Have fun there.
MLW? NWA?
Sure, I guess.
World's heavyweight champion QT Marshall?
He actually probably work well in the NWA, truthfully.
I agree.
Back to the overall, did he help bring the feeling, whatever? No. He probably helped, but he's not the entire reasoning behind it.
Sure.
Right? That's just not true. Because there was a long time that Bryan Danielson was in this company that this company was great. The hottest stretch of this company is All Out 2021 until pretty much All Out 2022, right? That's the hottest period in this company. I don't know where he was in the
pecking order.
In the pecking order at that time. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes left during this time, so I'm sure he wasn't as high as he once was by the end of the run. Mm-hmm. I think he definitely helped a lot for sure during the early years. And while I would say he's going to be missed a lot, clearly he didn't have that role anymore. And I just don't think we're going to notice anything with QT Marshall gone. But I wish him the best, obviously. Hope he finds a job. If he doesn't want to wrestle much anymore, I'm sure Cody Rhodes can get him something. But it sounds like he does. So hopefully, here's the truth. If this is true, right? We're talking about bringing back that feeling, whatever. In LLW, where someone would benefit from adding him and bringing him on their booking team, that's just the truth. He should have ran Ring of Honor. That's what they should have had him do.
I fully agree.
This is true.
I fully agree. Continue on that thought. Why you think he should have run Ring of Honor?
Well, because Ring of Honor is in the midst of being non-existent. They have. I don't know if they've even sold 1,000 tickets yet.
I can look
Um,
that. I'll look that up for you.
I, they're pretty close, but still, that's not good with the show. Less than 2 weeks out from today. Uh, you know, Joey Janela actually had a great point this week, and that was
What?
tough for me to admit. Um, which I didn't. It was one of those like
Final
the one.
battle as of December 1st, 2 days ago at the time of recording, distributed 996 tickets.
Yeah,
I would
so
assume they're over 1,000 at this point.
when that came out, he tweeted, "That sucks. Run smaller buildings 100%. Why isn't this in the New York City market? Run ROH like an independent promotion, 3 or 4 shows a month. Find a booker and someone to run the ship. Tony doesn't have to be there. I guarantee a huge increase in Honor Club subscribers and a better overall exciting product. This is AEW Dark Deluxe," is what Janela said. And I couldn't agree more. And I feel like QT Marshall would have been great in that role. I feel like there's a number of guys that would be great in that role to really just run Ring of Honor so Tony Khan doesn't have to. Yeah, I think I think I think the New Japan thing might be taken out of context. We don't know for sure what he means. I think he doesn't understand the storytelling in the ring as much on a New Japan aspect rather than like the WWEs and AEWs, or not AEWs, but like what we see here in the States comparably. Like, because I know he knows that storytelling happens in the ring. He's a pro wrestler. I would hope he knows that.
Sure.
But the way New Japan does it, I don't know if he gets that. And the way New Japan does it, I'll say in Japanese wrestling as a whole is the best. So if you don't want that, that's what AEW has brought multiple times, and it's sometimes been the best stuff going in the ring. I watched, again, I'm going to bring this up. I watched Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston yesterday. That had that all over it. That's what the Continental Classic is. It's about creating new stories and creating stories in the ring. The desperation to want to win, stuff like that. We're seeing it with Daniel Garcia and his desperation to get back on any role, right? We're seeing it with John Moxley and the promos he's cutting backstage after his matches. I'm hurt, and then he has these great matches. It's on and on and on. It's so simple. It's so simple. And if that's not what he wanted to see, then goodbye.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. I think QT Marshall, whatever that New Japan comment is, he doesn't. I don't think he's a guy that seemingly likes the WWE style of sports entertainment. I mean, his character was full. QTV was full on sports entertainment.
That was ass, by the way. Like if there
was
a
a couple packs of ass for sure.
If there was a worst gimmick award,
I think there is.
That would be heavily considered by me.
Yeah. Yeah. So he is an interesting character in that realm. I don't necessarily think the idea of like what sports entertainment, what counts as sports entertainment, is a very interesting line to me. Like there was also that quote from Matt Hardy this week as well, where he talked about how kind of almost similarly to what QT was sort of talking about, how that he wishes that there was more character driven storytelling than just matches. And he talked about how great character driven storytelling is being told in the Adam Copeland Christian Cage feud, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's a good character driven story right there. But what's interesting is that like I don't consider that like sports entertainment. I consider that feud like wrestling. You know, it's two people that want to fight and they're going to fight in a wrestling match. Maybe there's an argument that the title doesn't really matter in this wrestling match, and there's that aspect of it, but it's at the end of the day that feels like wrestling. Character driven storytelling is important to wrestling and what I would consider wrestling. But there's this fine line where, like, as soon as you start crossing into like timeless Tony Roderick Strong WWE isms, that's where it bleeds into sports entertainment. For you, Scotty, where do you think that line is, and where do you think, like, just matches New Japan style to this WWE thing is, like, where is this divide now that we're talking about it, of sports entertainment into wrestling, wrestling into sports entertainment? Where's that line for you?
It's funny that you say it's pro wrestling because Meltzer says it's all sports entertainment at the end of the day. Because, like, technically, the term is exactly what it is because this is a written
Yeah,
sport.
yeah,
But the line for me is, and I really don't care what we call it at this point. Like,
sure.
the line for me is, look at the MJF and Adam Cole story. I'm someone that was supportive of that for a few months there, and then I fell off, right? The line is the over enthusiasms of a character. And what I mean by that is overacting, um, over the top characters that don't follow the rest of the company. And when I say that, I'm not trying to say someone should stand out, but Timeless Tony was working really well in the original realm, right? She was going crazy.
Yeah,
She didn't know, right? Because after she lost her title, she's losing her mind. And
yeah.
then somehow we got to
Full on black
every
and
time,
white.
right? Every time she's on my screen, it's in black and white, and she's talking in a specific accent, and that's overboard. There's the story. There was a driven story there with her going crazy, and then it went off the went off the tracks. That is something that I think you go from the pro wrestling character to what, like what you're saying, sports entertainment. And listen, I don't even think this is something WWE would do. I don't think they're turning their screen black and white for a character like this. Yeah, maybe they did for like the VOD villains in NXT. Congratulations, you're being compared to the VOD villains that never made it successfully out of NXT. Awesome. I think what Matt Hardy is trying to say is that he wants more stories told in the ring, like an Edge and Christian, which are great, but some stories just don't need that either,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? The best story driven work from this week, besides the Edge and Christian stuff, were the promos that didn't air on TV after the Continental Classic matches. And
Hmm.
you know how we got to those? Because of the matches.
Hmm.
Because that is what pro wrestling is. Stories need matches and matches need stories. I don't know if that's difficult for people to figure out. It's not just matches. Every match should be telling a story.
Yeah.
It's the matches that aren't telling any story that I could do without, for sure. But sometimes they're used to get us further down the line, right? You have a match between, the House of Black, Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels on Collision last night. That was to get us to the next part of the thing with FTR because they're going to come on after, but this is a way to get them on TV, have a cool match, whatever. That's fine. But the best stories are built through matches, just like we're seeing in the Continental Classic now. We started the first week. I think the first week was fine. It had a
Kind
really
of a
good match.
wash. Kind of a
Yeah, the last match for me of the entire tournament was the best one, of the tournament that week was the best one with
Mhm.
Eddie and Brody King. But
Agreed.
other than that, it was like, all right, a wash. This week we absolutely ramped it up. We went to the levels that we expected from this tournament, and after that, they had these incredible promos.
Yeah.
That's what wrestling's all about to me.
And we're starting to get some of those, as I talked about, wanting in the Continental Classic. We're starting to get some of those long-term stories starting to be built up. Moxley starting to get injured, right?
Yep.
Roosh also kind of getting injured.
I
Like you
I
said,
see.
Dana Garcia is sort of like
Yeah.
constantly overdoing it on wanting to be like this wrestler, overdoing the
Mhm.
what's the lion dragon tamer move, I think is
Yep.
what it's called, overdoing it and getting and losing because of it twice in a row.
I
um
love where his story's going because I
mhm,
I think, like, for example, it's going towards the Bryan Danielson match. The last time he was great,
yeah,
right? Like, the last time this guy was him, And I'm hoping that's where we finally get the Daniel Garcia that so many of us picked as like a future star of this company last year.
Yeah. Yeah, and that I'm wondering when that Daniel Garcia match is going to happen, right?
I would
Because
love if that's what kept Danielson out.
me too. That would be very interesting. I don't know if
But
it'll
I can't
happen,
see
but
him missing the semifinals.
I think that. Well, the other question is like because Danielson obviously missed his first match against Andrade, and they didn't do a buy or give Andrade points, so they're planning on doing the match as a makeup.
Yeah.
Um,
They're gonna make that guy wrestle twice in a week.
Yeah, well, that's my thought. Either he's wrestling twice our week on Dynamite and Collision,
Yeah.
or
Twice in
we
one
do
night.
we do a match in the pre-show or earlier in the night on World's End, and then the semifinal. Oh no, the semifinals are
No,
probably on.
semifinals are before that.
Oh
Semifinals are
really? Oh, then I have no idea
yeah.
when he's going to be
No,
doing this.
they're just gonna squish poor Danielson in, and he's gonna wrestle with an eye patch, and he's gonna have the best matches in the tournament because
I think the Continental Classic is a great way to showcase that you can tell stories through matches
yeah,
and not have matches happen around stories.
yeah,
And they're starting to get into that more this week. And as the tournament goes on, I think they'll get into it even more. And I think that is really going to prove what works in wrestling. I mean,
yeah.
you and I are enjoying the Continental Classic at least now in week 2 to
They've
get that.
made Brody King in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Daniel
That's what
Garcia is
the
going
story
back
is.
to where he was in 2 weeks.
Yeah, like
Not
it's
there yet.
so.
Not there yet. To be fair, but he's getting
I don't.
there.
I think I said this about like the Malachi stuff. One, Matt Sydal should be on TV more. Two, pro wrestling can be very easy. It can.
Yeah, yeah,
Booking the Continental Classic ain't easy, I'm sure. Like getting every match set up to make it all work. That's not easy. But what is easy is using a tournament like this to develop 12 wrestlers at one time in their stories.
yeah.
You're feeling it for every single one of them. I saw that Jay White promo after his match this week, and I was like, oh my God, that's the Jay White I remember.
Yeah.
The John Moxley one, I think, speaks for itself. Like this guy is he's on another level. But it's like it's so easy. They have this great story with Eddie Kingston going on. He got too over confident. He put all his titles on the line. Now he's sitting at 0-2. Can he get back into it? It's so good, so simple. It's exactly what this should be about. It's exactly what AEW should be about.
Mhm. Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think for me, the line between sports entertainment and wrestling is what everything in wrestling I think should have character driven stories.
Yeah,
I think one of the best stories, character driven stories in AEW is the Elite and everything that happened with Adam Page. A
yeah,
character driven story. And I think that obviously succeeded. And I think at the end of the day, if you want to look at that line between wrestling and sports entertainment, I think it is how much weight do the matches have in the story?
sure.
I think the idea of why I think Adam Copeland and Edge is a good wrestling story is because these two guys now, or at least Adam Copeland now, Christian less so based on this past Wednesday, but that's his character. They want to fight each other. They're going to fight over a title. Adam Page and Omega fighting over. They want to fight each other, and it also happens to be they're fighting for the title. This story right now was we're going to create stories, and they're fighting in a match. Moxley and Page this year fighting. They want to go and fight. Swerve and Adam Page at the last pay per view. They want to go out and fight. How much weight do the matches have?
Yeah.
And I think that's the matches with Timeless Tony don't matter.
No,
They
they
don't really
stink.
matter. Roderick Strong, the matches don't really matter. MJF, kind of the matches don't really matter because we're just sort of at this point waiting to see what the devil does.
Yeah.
So I think to me, it's like that's sort of the line. And you can have character driven stories. You should have character driven stories in wrestling. Some of the biggest people in wrestling are also characters. Ric Flair was also a character. Hulk Hogan was also.
Sucks. Hulk Hogan sucks.
I agree. You get my point there.
Can you name two worse people?
Shawn Michaels. It's fine.
I don't know if that's pretty close for
But
other reasons, I
the
guess.
idea that Ric Flair is a great wrestler, he was a big time character. I think the thing is that matches have to matter, and I think you should have character driven stories. It's just you have to have matches that matter. And QT Marshall leaving, if he thinks just matches is too much, well then I think he's missing the plot on potentially that matches also matter, and they should
Yeah.
matter most when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Speaking of wrestlers, let's talk about other wrestlers popping up in other companies. We have 2 potential sightings. Well, 1 definite sighting.
One, I saw him show up.
And that's Kota Ibushi showing up in Noah, popping up. So he showed up in Noah, and he was challenged by, and then I believe accepted the challenge of Naomichi Marufuji, and they were going to be in the main event for Noah's New Year's show, January 2nd, I want to say it is.
You want to talk about character-driven stories and building a story just for it to be kicked out of the main event? Oh, eat your heart out, Kino and Manabu Soya. Eat your heart out. Damn.
Noah.
They got WWE'd by the part-timers. When the part-timers would roll in, they would just toss them in the main event, and everyone's like, why would you do that?
Yep.
That's exactly what happened this time around. And don't get me wrong, I understand why they're putting Marufuji and Kota Ibushi in the main event. It kind of speaks for itself, right? Like, that's 2 of the best wrestlers ever, right?
2 of the best wrestlers on the roster.
Well, yeah. Well, it's I can't defend it main eventing, but I understand why Noah's doing it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's the Muto situation all over again.
On this past Noah pay-per-view, the main event was a tag team match of Tatsumi Fujinami.
Yes, it was.
God.
So Ibushi obviously coming in finally. You and me once upon a time, right? I don't know if you remember this. We said that him going to Noah made a lot of sense.
We did.
And then they never happened, and then he got the All Elite graphic.
And then we saw him wrestle a couple times. And
yeah, it was funny. One of his first like great showing, or not great, but better showing, was in Glate. I don't know if you remember that, but he like looked pretty good in that. And I was like okay,
10-man tag or something.
Yeah, it was an absurd amount of people. But he looked good, and I was like, okay, there's something still here. Now here's the problem, Ryan. In the year of 2023. Neither of these 2 wrestlers are capable of carrying the other, right? They're just they're not those dogs anymore. Once upon a time, this would be like, this could have been the best match of the year. Truthfully, like 7 years ago, I would not be shocked if it was one of the best matches of the year. Well, maybe not 7, but like 5.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll go that far back. Now I'm still gonna watch it. I'll tell you that.
The Marufuji Osprey match was good, but it was against Osprey.
Like,
I'm trying to give Marufuji something.
Yeah, Marufuji could still show up when the time needs him to, and I think this is one of those times he's going to try. It's going to be on the Ibushi output more than anything,
which has been spotty at best.
Spotty at best, for sure. Now, is this his first singles match back?
Ibushi?
Yeah.
No, of course. He wrestled WrestleMania weekend against Joey Janela.
Is this his first singles match back that anyone gives a shit about?
Probably.
Is this his first true singles match? I think it is. Like, those matches had stipulations and stuff. The Speedball one was a Josh Barnett thing, and the Joey Janela one was stupid.
So it was Ibushi versus Mike Bailey at Bloodsport. It was Ibushi versus Janela at Spring Break for 24 minutes and 20 seconds. Then he was at Blood and Guts.
Which was not a normal singles match.
No. Then he was at Blood and Guts. Then he was at Glate in the.
I know where he was. Where are they single matches?
I'm going through it. He was at All In London. He was at Wrestle Dream in 6-man tags, and then the Street Fight. So yeah,
This is his first true singles match.
Yeah, and also his first match back in Japan since was that October 2021.
You just said Glee.
Fuck.
His first singles match back in Japan.
Yeah,
since the
baby.
G1 final though, and I think that's a big deal. Ultimately, sucks for Kano and Manabu Soya. That's my first take.
Yeah.
I think Manabu Soya, like out of all the bad things I've been able to say about Noah this past year, one thing I will give credit to is Manabu Soya kind of becoming a viable challenger and a viable wrestler for them.
Yeah.
But I get it. I really do. It's the Muto situation. That's what it is at the end of the day. We're selling tickets, right? It was the same thing last year with Nakamura and Muto. This year, it's freaking Marufuji and Ibushi, which I'll say it, probably going to be better than Nakamura and Muto as an actual wrestling match, even despite their limitations. But we'll see. We'll see. I wonder if Ibushi sticks around. If Ibushi's sticking around, Kano, your days are numbered.
Yeah.
I know he signed AEW, but like he just drops it. So it's like, is he really signed? No, he goes back to Japan after every match he has. So he's based in Japan. I don't think they would stop him.
Well, I wonder if, we sort of talked about it at the time with Ibushi of, Noah probably wouldn't be able to afford him full time. So maybe if he's working in the States, he's works at AEW.
I think Cyber Fight could pay for Kota Ibushi.
Sure. But that's my point, is that you can have him show it up on the state side for AEW and then him working Japan side for Noah. And that could be something that might be popping up down. Like maybe it isn't fully part-time. Maybe it is like, more full-time than we think.
Yeah. If he's hitting like Corkins and their big shows, maybe. I will say this. Have you seen like half of the matches that they're making for this card?
No.
Like
I don't think
half of them have New Japan talent. Like Satoshi Kojima and Go Shiozaki are gonna wrestle. We're getting Masakita Miya and Tomohiro Ishii. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Sabre Jr. are having their road to Wrestle Kingdom match on the show. They have packed this with New Japan talent. And I'll take it one step further. So New Japan's English Twitter account tweeted out like the Japan Week events.
Yeah.
Right. So they had the 2 Stardom shows on there, Queendom and the January 4th show.
Yeah.
They had the freaking Noah show on the tweet. I was like, damn. I mean, I don't blame them because they're sending over a ton of wrestlers, but damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. I guess they now have 3 people. Tanahashi, Sabre, and Ishii on the lineup.
Yeah,
the Ishii match isn't official, seemingly.
It'll happen, but
like they need it.
The Kojima one isn't either. But if you add those 2 matches, I'm much more interested in the card than I was.
Well, Noah needs it. They need some sort of ticket mover. I mean, they are what? Probably
they do. They got Kota Ibushi.
They're probably like long term a ticket mover. They keep Kota Ibushi around because they are what? Probably 4th in Japan right now.
Yeah,
New Japan.
This year they're bumped up by the Muto stuff, but overall, it's New Japan, Stardom, probably Dragon Gate, and then
I was
Noah.
gonna say All Japan. All Japan's
doing great too. Yeah. Noah could be 5th in tickets right now.
Yikes!
That Jake Lee run did them wonders.
Sure. Bobby Batito, if I'm pronouncing the last name right, had a question in the YouTube chat about Julia. I'm going to circle back to that when we get to that. Talking about Stardom. Before we talk about Stardom, I want to talk about some legs, some suit wearing legs popped up in CMLL
and a watch.
And a watch. It was CM Punk.
Beard.
It was CM Punk. He was tapping his watch. Showed up in CMLL. The current theory is that it's probably going to be Andrade El Idolo showing up in CMLL. He's returning to CMLL after a great year. When, who knows? It, the whole video was like, oh, soon or whatever. What do you think about the potential return of Andrade back in CMLL?
It would be massive, like gigantic. He hasn't been in CMLL since 2015.
He's been in AAA. When he's not in WWE,
Yeah.
he's in AAA a little bit.
He did a little bit AAA, very forgettable AAA for the most part. Obviously he had his fallout there, and now that AEW has a relationship with CMLL in some form, this excites me greatly that he could be back. I don't know what his popularity levels are there now, obviously, because I don't
Who knows?
know trends of the Mexican market. My guess is it would be pretty big the moment he showed up. And the moment you run Mystico versus Andrade, man, him and Mascara Dorada, man, him and Soberano Jr., man, like we're having ourselves a time. I hope it is him. I will be shocked if it isn't him based off of the video, because it looked every movement, every little thing. I was like, oh, okay. I saw the legs and I was like, oh, it's Andrade.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's not QT Marshall?
No, he's in the bad Lucha Libre company. Can we talk about that for a second? We have a pretty free show today. Like we can do whatever we want, right?
Yeah.
Has we've talked about companies losing stock this year. We mocked Noah a little bit. I don't think any company's lost more stock than AAA. Like no one watches it. Not a single soul watches their shows now.
Dead in the ground. It feels like they're
like
I don't know.
Last year, people were excited for Triple Manias at least. This year, I didn't hear a peep.
No, it fell off. It fell off fast and quick. I mean, I don't even know what they're doing. I mean, it doesn't help that CMLL all of a sudden is running, fantastic shows all year. I mean, according to this, the AAA Guerra del Titanes, they had a capacity of 8,000. I mean, that's capacity. I don't really know tickets sold there.
That's just the capacity.
I'm
just you answer my question. They're dead in the water. Done. This is a company that employs the Vikingos of the world, the Pentas of the world, and so on and so forth.
I fear not for long for Vikingo.
No. And yeah, it's rough.
But Andrade and CMLL would rule.
Yes, it would. Yes,
I was looking up. I was trying to look up who did he lose his mask to. Do you know that trivia fact? Who did La Sombra lose his mask to?
Was it Atlantis?
It was Atlantis.
I knew that. I don't know why.
And now his son is in the company. Interesting.
You want to hear a hot take?
Sure.
I don't know if it's a hot take. I think Atlantis Jr. is kind of bad now.
I disagree.
I haven't seen him have a good match in a very long time.
A good match? I disagree.
Name his last good match.
I don't know. I'm behind on World Tag League. I can't help you there.
Okay. Well, yeah, those were okay, but he has Soberano Jr. with him.
How dare you? How dare you?
You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Anyways, we're moving on. Let's move on to
La Sombra versus Volador Jr. again, all these years later.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of possibilities. We continue.
I do think Atlantis Jr. versus Andrade could be good. I think they have similar styles and they could do.
I think the story could be great.
Yeah, they got story already built in. I think the wrestling styles can mesh very well together. And that's build that up for what's the 70th anniversary? Where are they at? 80th anniversary?
90th. They just had their 90th.
90th, yeah. Build that up for 91.
I like it. Mask versus hair.
Yeah. Could be bold. That'd be a bold
or you could do Mask versus hair between him and Mystico, and I could be far happier.
Well, we all know Andrade's definitely losing that one.
Good. That's the point.
Stardom, Nagoya Big Winter. This was Stardom show last Saturday or yesterday, if you're listening to this. Attendance 952. I think it's kind of low for my liking, but that's fine. It was kind of
Still low.
kind of a top three match card here. We sort of talked about in the preview that this may be sort of the reset. Wasn't quite the reset, I would argue.
They're building towards the reset.
This is the road to the reset.
Yeah. I called it the road to the new era. And this isn't just a Stardom thing. I think this is a wrestling as a whole thing, which I've had the realization. I had the realization the past couple days of how, while this year has had some of the best wrestling I have ever seen,
Yeah.
A lot of promotions have just had rough years. Like,
Yeah.
when you and me have talked about promoter of the year and stuff like that, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I think a lot of companies need to have a great end of the year to turn that into a great start and 2024 overall. It goes with Stardom. It goes with Noah. It even goes with New Japan. Like, New Japan had a great start of the year, and boy, oh boy, did they fall off, right?
Yeah.
AEW we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're having a great end of the year right now. But you and me talked about this. One good Dynamite and one good Collision ain't gonna cut it, buddy. Like, I need these to go in weeks in a row. This upcoming Dynamite looks like we should get that. Then we have Winter's coming. So baby steps. But I think that is a conversation to be had when we get to the year-end events and in the beginning of the year events. These are big time shows for all these companies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be make or break for a lot of these companies.
Yeah.
I don't know if a great show is necessarily going to turn Stardom's year around for Dream
No,
Kingdom.
2023 is no. We're
I
not
think it's
turning
locked in
23
for them.
ring. They are
But
trying to start 2024 strong.
Exactly. That was my ultimate
I
point.
don't think any. I'll also say this. I don't think any company is turning around with these year-end events. It's all about creating a big start to 2024 because you want a stronger year in the new year. That's the most important thing. Everyone should be going all out for 2024. They should be going like, you want to be the top company again. That goes for New Japan, who I think is going to have an interesting reset at the beginning of the year next year, based off the card that they have. That's going to go for AEW with World's End. That could be a complete reset due to MJF being hurt.
Yep.
And Stardom the same. Stardom's going to be crowning a new world champion. That's where the start of the new era, this new reset happens. Like, you need a world champion to lead the way. And you felt that, I think, on this show. They don't have a world champion. And they haven't had a world champion for months now.
No, they have not. Stardom's running low when there's only like two people catching diving wrestlers on the outside. It's real low. It's real dire back there. So I only watched the top three. Was there anything else interesting or of note in the rest of the show? The other 7 matches or whatever I'm looking at. 6 matches.
Yeah, let me go through this quickly. The way I would go through it on my usual shows. Sayori, I know, looked very good in her match again. She's had a good year. She's had one of the brighter years this year. Obviously we know why now, but they built her strong. May Sarah did it like the high speed title match. She's still waiting for a great defense, and I don't really blame her because she's been one of the true MVPs of Stardom's rocky year. Her and Tekla had a good match, and I will say this for all the matches on this show for the most part, very short endings. I think I don't know this for sure. It felt like they had it hard out at the venue or something, because some of the matches just felt like they were ending early, and this was one of them.
Of the bottom 6 matches that we're talking about here, not a single match went over 10 minutes.
Yeah, no. Everything felt like it was a hard out at the end of the night.
On average, maybe 7 minutes, 7:30.
Yeah. Because I was watching, I was like, they must because that's a thing that happens, obviously, the hard out. So that was my guess, because I was like, why is every match ending in so quickly and just happening?
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that, it's really, you got to get to the title matches, and that's where Actually, sorry, that's not true. Oedo Tai, they beat God's Eye. After that match, Saori no challenged Mirai for the Wonder of Stardom title. That is a rematch from Gold Rush, where they went to 30-minute draw. I don't think this is the original plan, but the original plan could be hurt. Maybe a
Sure.
Natsupoi, for example.
There's
That's
a
kind
good
of the way I look
chance.
at.
There's a good chance
Yeah,
the original plan
yeah.
is hurt just
I was
because
ta-
everyone's
I
hurt.
was talking to Alex about that, and the realization that it could have very well been Natsupoi
Mhm.
is real. And she, while she did finally talk this week that she's recovering well and stuff like that. Sayori and her were probably going to be tagging at this show, and then one of them maybe going on to the Wonder Storm title match.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. However, out of all the possibilities for that Wonder Storm title match, this is still the best one of like the people that made sense for Mirai. And I
Yeah.
think they can have a lot better match now that they're probably not going to be going to a 30-minute time limit like they did the last time. So I'm more receptive to that rematch than some other people are. But yeah, we can get in the last three matches now.
The other thing, I guess, of note would just be that there was that MMA Fight Rules. Nanai Takahashi defeats the Scandinavian Hurricane, Alyssa Inc. And then I believe it was today, I want to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
where Scandinavian Hurricane officially joined God's Eye.
Yeah, which is good.
So a little thing of note, I guess.
She's Alice Inc. is more of like a shoot style wrestler,
Yeah, she
which
fits
has
well.
been a weird combo for her against like certain wrestlers because she's trying to wrestle that shoot style and that's just not what they do. But in God's Eye, I think you can get the best out of her. So good
Yeah.
addition. Not a shock. She's teaming with them in every single match this week. So it was just
Mhm.
like a formality. But I like that they're bringing in these international talents and putting them in factions. The only one that they haven't is Megan Bain,
Yeah.
which, you know,
I guess we'll talk about. I guess the ultimate question is: will Alice Inc. be getting that coveted Bloodsport invitation? Moving on. New Japan Strong Women's Title match. Julia defeats Azame. 12 minutes and 56 seconds. What did you think about this match? And then Bobby Petito has a question in the YouTube chat. Who do you guys like to see to be the next challenger for Julia following her win over Azame?
I think this was comfortably Julia's best strong women's title defense. And it's not very close. I've seen them all. Most of them have been underwhelming. Julia has kind of she's been a little bit more shut down the past
Mhm.
couple months.
I wonder
Uh
why.
this was the first time that I feel like she was closer to full capacity. And I don't think she had a choice because I watched how Azumi wrestled in this match. I was like, well, you got to keep up.
Yeah.
You can't be at half speed.
There was a
I thought
couple moments in this match where it was a little half speed on
yeah,
Julia's end, and I was like,
yeah,
come on. You could have had
yeah,
that."
she had to slow down a little. I think she just got tired, truthfully.
Fair.
Which I watched the speed that they started with. I was like, it makes sense. I thought it was really, really good. I thought Azumi was an absolute star in this match.
Mhm.
She has reached the level now where you need to start pushing her because
Yeah.
I just think she's so good and she started to find her complete game.
Mhm.
And after watching this match, this is the biggest singles match of her career. Not the biggest
Yeah.
match because she had the Mercedes Moné match, obviously, but the biggest singles match of her career, and she was the star of the match. So
Yeah.
I'm hopeful, like 2024, part of the reasons that they are going back up in excitement is because Azumi's getting a better push. I would love to see her win the Cinderella, for example. I think
Yeah.
she'd be a perfect choice to win that at this stage. 21 years old, ready to go. She had a great showing here, and
Good time to
this was
bump
the
up the stakes.
loudest the crowd got all night when Azumi almost won.
Mhm.
So use that. That's momentum.
Mhm. I think Cinderella's a great call. Use that to build up right to the Wonder. Uh,
Yeah.
that could
Oh,
be really good.
she should win.
Yeah.
Like I can't stress enough. She should win that title eventually. Even if she fails first try, at least you put her in that conversation now.
Yeah, and you kinda have to start putting her up there. I mean, she's
Yeah.
obviously graduated high speed, at this point, so you
I think
really
she's
need to
better
start.
than Starlight Kid And Starlight Kid's been in that conversation for in
Forever.
ring. I think she's better than Starlight Kid.
Yeah.
I think like Starlight Kid was ahead of her probably in like doing character stuff and stuff like that.
Sure.
But now they're on even footing. If not, Azumi's had such a better year than Starlight Kid that she's probably ahead of her again.
Yeah.
That's what they do though. They trade each other. They trade years off with each other.
They're
I would like.
eternal rivals.
I would like next year to be the year that they're both pushed up the top of the card because again, we have Suzuki about to be in the main event of the second biggest show of the year. Those two should be following in 2024.
Yeah. Who do you think, like Bobby Badito asked, who do you think could be Julia's next challenger? Which I assume will be Dream Queendom?
Yeah, I would guess Dream Queendom. They have 3 pay-per-views. That from Dream Queendom, then they have the Yokon Budokan, then they have the January 4th show.
And New Japan doesn't have a stateside show until the new year, right?
No, Battle in the Valley will probably be Julia and Trish Adora.
Yeah.
I think they set that up.
Yeah, January 13th is that.
Few options I would toss out based off of like current placement for this upcoming little run here. Of people who I know aren't busy, I think Hazuki would obviously be a great one. I think Megan Bain is interesting because they had a really good draw on a house show recently.
And she's
that was like
probably not doing anything.
no, and I think she's going to be there still. I don't think she's going back until maybe the new year now. So I think that would be a good one. I think Julia and Megan Bain would be really solid, and it would be a good usage of that title because that's kind of what the purpose of that title is, right? The international feature. I think that would be a good one. And then my other shout,
you could do Alice Inc. as well, just to keep up with the international idea.
Or Shuri.
Yeah.
Just toss Julia and Shuri on there again, but this time I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they would ever give that match away for this belt that is a nuisance to me in this company. But I think Shuri has nothing right now in my I can't project what she's going to be doing. So
that could be the January 4th.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have to assume that they're doing a match for the January 4th show.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be the second title match, right? With the IWGP main eventing. Though I think Shuri could also be the one facing Mayu for that. So
that's true.
We have a lot of question marks still, but
then maybe it could be Julia losing the title to someone Dream Queendom, and then Julia challenging Mayu.
They could do Mina too.
I was gonna say there's that mini tournament, right? So it could be someone who gets second place in the mini tournament.
The mini tournament already happened.
I'm not paying attention.
It happened at the Cork, in which one was one of their better shows. 2 had their best attendance in a little bit, and 3 Michael won.
Yes, I knew that. What did I know? What was that tournament?
It was Tuesday. Yeah, it was one of their. It was a great show.
Well, Momo got second. Do you think Momo
could be Momo? Well, actually, no. Momo's facing for the tag title, so it can't be Momo.
Okay, then then it's probably going to be either a returning injured person, or I think Megan Bain's a solid pick. Honestly,
yeah, I think she makes sense.
I think Megan Bain.
She got pinned in the tag title match, but otherwise she's not lost. So
yeah, but you can always take the pin there and then challenge and then lose again. Or I like the idea of Megan Bain winning the title off.
She could win because she's obviously going back to the U.S. eventually. I wouldn't mind. I actually wouldn't mind that just because 1, the title would be gone from Stardom, and I'd be happy. And 2, that's it. That's the main reason I'd be happy. I want this title gone. I can't.
The downside to that is then your Battle in the Valley match might be Megan Bain versus Trish Adora, which is like a Beyond Wrestling special.
Julia's on the poster, so I could put money on Julia being there.
It could be a tag. I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I thought the match was pretty good. Like I said, there was a little slow stuff that I was like, those back-to-back Canadian destroyers. I was like, ooh, can we get more of a rotation on these next time?
Yeah,
there's like just landing on your back, Azumi. Looking real.
She has some great ones. I think.
I know.
I think Julia again was just exhausted.
I agree. The Goddesses of Stardom title match here. Aphrodite has officially returned and won the titles. Saya Kamatani and Utami Hayashishita defeat the Micah and Megan Bain to win the vacant tag titles.
Really good story match here. If you have to follow like the Divine Kingdom run, but their only loss has been via countout once in the tag league. Otherwise, they've been dominant. Otherwise, they just they haven't lost at all. And this match was about one team being a team that knows themselves and knows each other well, which is Sai and Utami, and the other being kind of this makeshift powerhouse team that have been riding a wave of momentum. And while I do think that like if Saya and Utami had been around for like a month rather than a week, this would be like one of the best tag matches in Stardom's year.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really good job at getting to the result here. Utami took a ton of punishment. She like did a full flip on like a Megan Bain like jumping clothesline.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? I was like, you just came back. Like, please don't.
Yeah.
Saya was great in this. She made like 1 million saves. That was like kind of her role.
Mm-hmm.
Also, one point in the match, like Megan Bay was just like standing on the outside, and Saya just took her out with a crossbody. I was like, oh, okay.
Yep.
I've desperately missed these two. Stardom has desperately missed these two. The vibes with these two back are so much higher, and they were the two that needed to come back more than anyone else. I think Mayu's out right now. Like if the January 4th show was now, Mayu would be wrestling in it because just a dislocated finger, they tape it up or whatever. But they don't need to, so they're just letting her heal.
Yeah.
These two needed to come back.
Yeah.
And it's just such a better feeling with these two back. You don't realize how much you miss someone until they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Saya Kamatani in this company so badly.
She was like what? She was like my women's wrestler of the year last year.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's just like she was mine too. It was her and Shuri probably.
Yeah.
She's just incredible, and she did a lot of the actual moves in this match, which I'm happy with because she was out longer. Don't make her take as much punishment.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm happy that they're champions. They should go on a great run. Hopefully, the more they build up now, because again, they've been back for a week. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of where Saya Kamatani is. I mean, probably real low.
Now?
Yeah.
Not high. She had some good matches, obviously, early in the year, but
he's 131st. My rankings.
Yeah, well,
she's tied with Robbie X and Adam Copeland.
That's disgusting.
What a lineup! What a lineup she's in. Who's my women's rest of the year right now? Hazuki. Interesting.
How about that? Natsuko Tora and Momo Watanabe challenged after this, so they're following the great story of the cage match earlier this year, which I'm all for. I think the best chemistry that Tora specifically has is with Utami. So that should actually be a really good tag match. I like the story. I like them building on story here. Very, very cool with me. And then main event was World of Stardom Championship Certificate match.
Yep, Suzuki defeating Hazuki.
Yes, say that 10 times fast.
Suzuki.
I thought
not a shock whatsoever. Obviously,
no. That's why I was a little shocked they got the main event, just because like everyone knew who was winning. But,
I would have maybe put the Goddesses of Stardom title.
I would have too.
Main event.
But I know what they wanted. They wanted to face off at the end of the show, so I get it. The fact is that one, Hazuki's great and should have more main events, but we've been saying this. I don't need to keep saying it. And two, Suzuki's also great. And I'm very happy that she's getting the World of Stardom title match at the end of the year. She's supposed to be world champion right now. And I'm gonna keep saying that until people understand. Like, this probably was a title defense that got scrapped.
Probably, yeah.
But her and Micah, Suzuki and Micah, year-end show, brand new World of Stardom champion. That's exciting. That's something new. That's something to build on for the new year.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by this match itself, Hazuki and Suzuki. It was fine, just but it obviously had no stakes really, because we all knew what was happening. Suzuki and Micah, I'm very intrigued about. They had a very good
5-star final.
yes, I was gonna say year-end climax. I was like, what is that? That's nothing.
They have that show. They have year-end climax.
Yeah, I was about to say that's something else. They had a very great 5-star final, and I think them continuing that momentum into the new year, especially for the world title. I mean, Micah, I've liked Micah for a very long time. I've been high on Micah for a very long
I
time.
call her the Puro fans' favorite Joshi wrestler.
That's completely fair. And she has those moments where she sort of, goes underwater like a crocodile for a little bit and hangs out. When she pops back up, it's like, yeah, baby, let's go. And I think she'll pop up here easily for Dream Queendom. And Suzuki, big time spot for the young Suzuki. Will she be able to handle it? Will she be able to nail it? What's that?
She's the future of this company. They were going to give her the
100%.
world title at 21 years old.
100%. I think she's going to nail it. I think she's a very good shot.
Probably do, to be fair, I should say. Still probably give her the world title, but Micah is the most over person in the company right now. So
I was going to say, what do you think the percent chance of Micah winning the title is?
I give her 40 right now, which is pretty high, seeing that she's not supposed to be champion right now and someone else is. So
yeah, that could be an interesting story of Suzuki not winning the title
for sure, and something to build back up. Either way, I think it's going to be great. I like the top 3 matches so far. They still have a lot to fill in. They have a lot of wrestlers that are still out, and I'm sure they'll be part of filling in the rest of the card. But like I said, that Dream Queendom show, it is a very important show for them, and it helps that, again, you start a new era by crowning a new world champion, and you go from there. I'm hopeful for them. I'm hopeful for the show. I'm hopeful for where they're going.
Yeah.
And with less shows next year, 1 pay-per-view per month, not just this ridiculous schedule that they've had this year. Like a pay-per-view schedule that we can actually follow that makes sense.
Yep.
I'm excited. I'm very excited for what the new president is trying to bring. And it seems like he's just trying to make the wrestlers happy, which if the wrestlers are happy, they're the reason this company had any life this year. Yeah. Because there's plenty going on elsewhere, as we've learned. So that goes for a lot of Japanese companies. Like I said, though, like it's got the talent have been incredible, and the booking have not.
Yeah, it's something that really needs to turn this company.
Shout out New Japan, by the way. Speaking of booking,
you see,
I'm not even gonna talk about no. That's not even worth it.
you see the World Tag League result today?
I saw that the 2 guys that should be winning it were eliminated. Yes, I did see that. Yota Tsuji, Ren Narita, and Shota Uno, all with nothing to do at Wrestle Kingdom.
We'll also throw in Kaito and Oiwa.
Well, at least Kaito doesn't work for the company.
now he has to waltz back to the semi-main event world champion and plead for his life again.
I saw that one of the Dragon Gate guys challenged Kaito.
Good, cool.
To a tag title match, which means that Oiwa is probably going to go with him. And I was like, that's sick. Their tag champions are good. It's Yoshioka and Dragon Dia. So that'd actually be really good. I want more Kaito matches. That's where I've ended up this year. It's like Kaito had this amazing start to the year, and then they were like, "Ha! Hope you enjoyed it." Oh, okay, appreciate it.
Yeah, I liked. I don't necessarily agree, but I love the commentary of being like the Kaito Gabe Kidd feud is a hotter, more violent feud than the Okada feud. And I was like, I don't know about that one. The Okada one was pretty rough, pretty nasty.
I don't think people remember how that was. Like that was
that was like New Year. We're like, oh my god,
that was like the best thing going for the first half of the year.
That week remember that week where everyone was like watching that gif of
him kicking Okada in the head and Okada going berserk.
Yeah, that was the best thing that week.
Anyone that says Gabe Kidd and Kaito even is close to that is just wrong.
Well, we got 30 minutes left on the show here, and we wanted to talk about.
Hey, you did good. You said an hour and 30. You nailed that.
Hour 30. I told you I nailed it.
I think you meant to do that, but that's fine.
And we also have 30 minutes exactly for your heart out. So I'm nailing it over here. Year-end awards. Obviously, the Wrestling Observer year-end. Actually, no. I'm going to do a plug first. Can I do a plug first real quickly?
Of course we do a plug. It's our show.
I want to plug the Patreon, patreon.com/countoutpod. I put out a new episode of the Great Birthday Bash this week.
I didn't think you were doing a full-out plug. Okay, continue.
I told you I was going to do a plug. It was me and Lauren Rosenberg from the Your Dose of Death podcast. It was titled The Great Birthday Bash, Extreme Violence. It's the show where I bring on a guest. We talk about matches that have happened, matches or wrestlers or something that have same date as the guest's birthday. So Lauren's was, I believe, June 11th. So we talked about any matches that happen on that day. We talked about ECW one night.
On my birthday.
Well, I'll get to yours. Do I have a list of matches for your birthday written out yet?
Probably not. You probably don't. I was probably like last on your.
No, I do not.
Show.
I do a show with you all the time, so I don't have anything else.
I knew it.
But I do have the Wrestling Observer birthday day in history thing written up. We can do Koloff defeating Bruno Sammartino. I'm gonna have you throw
I'm good,
1971 wrestling at you. But yeah, anyways, the Great Birthday Bash, we talked about ECW One Night Stand. We talked about Samoa Joe versus the Necro Butcher. We talked about a CZW Tournament of Death match, of course, because he is the host of Your Dose of Death. This is our third episode of the Great Birthday Bash. I have plans to do some interesting stuff for the Patreon next year. I don't want to reveal them yet because I'm still working on them. But if you're interested, we have a bunch of stuff on the Patreon with Great Birthday Bash. We have our show that we watched stuff on. Ryan hasn't seen anything. And we have a bunch of Okada Shorts has, of course, their pre-show sort of conversation. It's always a fun conversation between Curtis and Raph. So if you're interested in listening to the Patreon, of course, patreon.com/countoutpod. If you're only listening to Ring Post Radio, if you're only listening to any of our podcasts, you're only getting half.
You made the right
story.
choice. Oh.
No, come on, don't ruin my plug. Anyways,
if you only listen to Ring Post Radio, you made the right choice. Just saying.
Damn. Wrestling Observer year-end.
You should make more choices with Count Out Network.
Well, it's an easy choice to make. Just listen to the Count Out.
Get the Count Out Patreon for your significant other for Christmas.
You can actually get it for a free 7-day trial, if I'm not mistaken. We launched that like
a better Christmas gift than that.
Yeah, the first 7 days for free, so you can come in, listen to some. You probably listen to all the audio, honestly, in 7 days. Don't do that. Give us some money, but you can probably listen to everything in the first 7 days.
Hell of a way to sell it. You can probably use that 7 days and then cancel pretty easily.
I think it's plausible. I think if you had a free moment of the 7 days, the free moment of a week.
I think we consider moments a lot different.
That's fair. Year-end awards. Let's talk about the Wrestling Observer year-end awards. The voting hasn't started, I don't think yet. But obviously, Wrestling Observer year-end awards. What's that?
Do you know why?
No.
Because the year's not over.
What?
I know. A lot of us like to talk about year-end awards as if all these big matches aren't happening that last week of the year, but that's fine.
This is, of course, not necessarily our conversation for the count-out year-end awards that we'll do We'll do in the new year, honestly, because the year's not over. We announce the nomination.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna have a little bit of a conversation. It's a long-standing conversation we wanted to have about sort of just our thoughts on sort of ideas. This isn't us putting up who we think's gonna win. This isn't us necessarily. This is sort of us going through and naming some nominations, if anything. So
it's what Dave and Brian do, except Brian never wants to give any options.
It's like what Dave and Brian do, except we watch everything and make sure that YouTube TV doesn't cut us off. Anyways, He's been dealing with that all week. I saw
know.
on Twitter. So year-end awards. We're not only going to talk about some of the Category A stuff. I think we're not going to talk about the MMA stuff either. So we're going to talk about the Fez Flair Award, Most Outstanding Wrestler, Tag Team of the Year, Promotion of the Year, Best on Interviews, which is essentially promos, Best Weekly Television, and Match of the Year. So
did you hear B award? But did you hear who he said for American MVP?
No, I did not.
He said Cody Rhodes. Dave said,
I think
draw of the company.
I think that's a fair argument.
Draw of the hottest company.
Yeah, I think it's not, and it's interesting because he's saying draw of the company and not Roman.
Well, that was the thing. He said Roman deserves some consideration, but he wasn't around enough. Cody was there week in and week out, every house show. He moved tickets for every show essentially. And I was like, man, that's crazy to think about.
Let's build off of that. That. Fez Flair Award. Cody?
Is that Wrestler of the Year?
That is best overall. So money drawing, in-ring work, promos, everything.
Yeah, because there's most outstanding too, right?
Yeah, most outstanding is just strictly in-ring.
I think the Wrestler of the Year here, like I think a lot of us just think in-ring because that's how a lot of us just watch wrestling now.
I have a whole sheet that is just in-ring performances.
Right. But I think a lot of those people at that top deserve credit, obviously. I think Ospreay will get respect this time around in that, right? Like
I agree. I think he should.
He has the stories in the matches that he's had, right? With Omega alone. The Shota Umino match, obviously, which that was a great storytelling match. And then he has all the in-ring. He has all the in-ring, obviously.
I was gonna say he's also some of the best matches and a draw for a lot of other different companies. For Impact, Rev Pro, for Noah, he has a lot of great matches, or also the biggest draw of the year or something like that.
Yeah, AEW, New Japan, like he has been a draw of sorts or on the biggest shows for every company that we just named. You know? So I definitely think that gives him a lot of love. I think it's best to like kind of look at the best of each company. Yeah. Right. And I think this will come down to AEW, WWE, and New Japan. Obviously, this is the Observer voters.
So Ospreay for New Japan, I think that makes more sense. Over Okada, probably, yeah.
Because Okada had a bad second half. Not a bad second half, but an uneventful second half. If his first half carried to the second half, I think Okada would comfortably be in this conversation because he had incredible stories this year.
His second half wasn't bad. The Trios title run isn't bad. I love that Trios title run.
I agree.
It's quieter. It's just quiet.
Yeah, it's not. He's not at the front, like Ospreay has been.
If you had to pick someone from WWE, I think Cody honestly is a great point. I mean, Roman has only been around for 7 matches. There is that house show conversation of whether or not he's properly drawing on house shows on those 4 matches and house shows. Cody wrestled. I saw a stat that WWE put out. He's wrestled 99 matches this year.
Yeah,
he is the workhorse of WWE
of the US, like for major companies.
Yeah, for WWE, the major company in the world, like he's wrestling the most. He's drawing probably per event. He's wrestling.
He has the most T-shirt sales.
He's great on promos.
Top 5. He's great on promos. He had the great, beginning of the year story, and he's pieced it together since then. But he has the continued success everywhere else, so it's like doesn't matter. He had the War Games stuff, and Dave made this point when talking about Cody. He's been a featured act on pretty much every pay-per-view.
Yeah, he has.
Right, whether it was with Lesnar or what the hell did he do it? What did he do at SummerSlam? Lesnar. It was Lesnar. Yeah. And then he had the War Game stuff. So
and the Roman stuff, obviously.
And the Roman stuff. So it's hard to go again. It's hard to pick anyone but Cody, and he's leading the hottest company in the world. So I think he deserves that respect 100%.
AEW, if you had to pick someone from best overall in AEW, I was thinking maybe Moxley. He has a great start of the year with Paige.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of died down a little bit because he gets injured at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, for sure.
Post Blood and Guts, but he comes back and he's still doing great. He's obviously still great on promos. He's still a great in-ring worker. The problem is with any AEW person is that like AEW this year has certainly felt colder. So when you're looking at like draw, it is harder to say. Like I don't think MJF should be
he's gonna get votes.
yeah.
He's gonna get votes because
He's not gonna get my votes.
No, he's not gonna get my vote either. But he's been at the top the entire year. He has been the world champion the entire year. He has been in the most stories the entire year. He has had some great matches and stuff like that.
I'd say divisive on promos.
For sure. And I think his second half of the year, pretty much post All In, especially, has been so rough that I don't think he's gonna get as many votes. So I wouldn't vote for him for AEW.
No.
I think Moxley's like probably the only option, truthfully.
Danielson, maybe? Is he in there?
If Danielson didn't miss so much time easily because he's got the in-ring, I was gonna bring this up with the most outstanding. He's the only person, and this is based off consistency, that I could see probably challenge Ospreay in any way in the awards this year. Because like I know for me, a lot of Danielson's matches rank very highly. Like if we were to take a cumulative like score for me, which I don't have, I should do that next year. Actually no, because I'll watch like a scrub match for people and I'll absolutely take it. Anyways, he's just like I don't know how many matches he wrestled off the top of
21.
21. Out of 21, probably 2/3 of those have been great.
I'm looking through his cage match right here. Danielson, Danielson Roosh. We still talk about it.
I loved that run that he had at the beginning of the year with all those big matches.
Yeah, Tony Nese, the tag match against Top Flight. I remember that being good. Danielson, Takeshita, Bandito, Cage, Timothy Thatcher, Roosh. That was all those big matches right there.
I remember the Bandito one fondly.
There's the 60-minute Iron Man match against MJF.
Of course.
There's the Anarchy in the Arena,
which will get match of the year votes.
I think so. Anarchy Arena. Then there's Forbidden Door against Okada.
Yeah.
Then there's the All Out No DQ strap match, which
was incredible. Might be my favorite Danielson match of the year.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that more than the MJF Iron Man match. I remember I was lower.
I like that more,
but that No DQ, I came in with not really many expectations, and it ruled. It was
unreal. Yeah, they had a good Texas Death match.
Yeah, then they had a tag match the following on Collision, and then they had the Texas Death, and then he did some tag matches. Another
then he had the Saber match.
He did the Saber match,
which was
at Wrestle Dream.
Fantastic.
He had a match against Kyle Fletcher on Collision. He had a match against Swerve.
Really good,
which was good. Then the match the following Saturday against Christian Cage, Andrade. Then a tag match against Kazuchika Okada and Orange Cassidy out of nowhere on that Philly show. And then this Eddie Kingston match.
He's been great. If he was healthy more, I think he would definitely.
I mean, 21 matches for someone that was unhealthy a lot of the year. That's pretty.
He would probably be my choice just based off of his stories too, but I think Moxley's a safer pick because he's been around for the majority of the year.
I mean, I can here 5 Danielson matches that I think all can easily give him: Roosh, MJF, Okada, Saber, and Starks.
Yeah,
that's 5. And you want to throw on a 6th one? I haven't seen it yet, but I'm hearing Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, if you want to add 7th one from my memory, I'd add Bandito.
If you want to add an 8th one, the other Starks match.
Yeah.
A 9th one, if you really want to stretch it out, Anarchy in the Arena was always fun. But like this guy's got at least 5 great matches this year, and he's probably the most over in the company consistently.
Yeah, him and Mox
for sure. I mean, Mox. I'm trying to remember Mox year.
I wish I could give Kenny more credit because he's had a fantastic in-ring year.
True.
But man, dude, they did not book him right most of the year.
Moxley, 56 matches this year. Not all of them in AEW, of course. But some pretty interesting ones. The Continental Classics. He had the Orange Cassidy match, the first one especially. I'm just looking through his list here, and there isn't really a lot I'm seeing that really.
The Hangman stuff, really.
Yeah, there isn't really a lot that really sticks out. There was an Anything Goes 3-way match against Pentagon and Trent Beretta. That was pretty good. I remember that being pretty
He was
good.
just consistent.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think, well, again, this is an outstanding wrestler. This is valuable, and he has the promos, right? He has the stories. He has all that.
But I think Danielson is as good as promos as Moxley, and
I
I
would
think
give Danielson.
I think Danielson's a better in-ring work.
If anyone's giving Roman consideration, I can give Danielson consideration.
I think it's completely true. I think
Danielson's been great. So
we're saying, let's say Cody, Danielson, Ospreay, Thez Flair.
I think that's a fun little trio. That's a wild trio.
Most
and truly, who should win? It depends what you favor the most.
Yeah,
truthfully, if you favor in-ring the most, I know who's winning. But if you favor business,
if you favor WWE being the leading company, then there's that. Yeah. Most outstanding in-ring work. I mean, is there anyone else other than Ospreay?
He just pulled a Brian. When they were talking about that, he was just like, "I'm not naming anyone else. I'm not doing it." I will because I'll be the Meltzer of the conversation here.
Sure.
I think Ospreay obviously leads the way for most people and will walk away with the award. I'm not really worried about that. But I think Okada deserves some love. I think Kento Miyahara has been fantastic this year. If you want to give a little All Japan shout out, All Japan's had a phenomenal year. He's been at the forefront of that.
Yuma Aoyagi has also been really good this year.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he has. Danielson and Omega, they've had despite the injuries for one and the struggles of health for another. I think they both deserve credit as well.
I mean, yeah, like we just said, I just went through Bryan Danielson. So I was like, I can easily name 5 great matches.
Danielson would probably come in second.
Yeah,
truthfully, just because if he had the full year, right, no injuries, there's a very good chance he'd be number 1.
Yeah, I think the problem is that Will Ospreay has had like the best match in like every promotion this year,
and he's mostly stayed healthy outside of that little period where he got hurt. Danielson got hurt so many times.
Who's your top 5 wrestlers according to your match?
Ospreay, Okada, Moxley, Miyahara, and Omega, but Danielson's right behind Omega and will be ahead of him very soon.
Yeah,
I could just tell you now, he will be ahead of him when the Continental Classic's over.
Yeah,
I'm very confident in that.
I have Ospreay, Danielson, Omega, Okada, Moxley.
That's almost exactly the same. I just have Kento mixed in. I've watched a lot of Kento this year.
I'm behind on All Japan, so I got to watch a lot more Kento.
I've watched so much Kento this year.
Where is Kento? He is 15 on my list. I have Yuma Aoyagi at 10.
I've watched 54 Kento Miyahara matches this year. I've watched more Kento matches than I have Ospreay, Okada, Omega, and Danielson.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I think I've only watched 52. Oh no, I watched 12 Kento Miyahara matches.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm super behind, and I'm gonna watch. Hey,
next year you're into All Japan, baby. You have
baby.
No choice.
Yeah, baby. I believe I'm fully caught up on New Japan now, and then I'm gonna catch up. I started catching up a little bit on like Puro Joshi stuff, and I think I'm gonna spend the next week, assuming no more migraine. Let's spend the next week trying to catch up on all that stuff.
Next year you're gonna have to respect Kento more.
Oh,
still 15th though, despite what you say, 12 matches.
yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Tag team. I just watched their One Night Dream match like last week.
Oh, right. That's a good point.
Tag team of the year. This one is tough.
This is probably the most open.
I think it's incredibly open. I think tag team wrestling this year has almost been at the back burner, but I also don't know. Like, does the Observer consider like trios as tag teams as well?
Right. I'm about to get freaky with some of the people that are out here.
All right, get freaky with it.
All right, let's get freaky. I'm gonna name someone from like all the companies that I've tried to follow tag team wrestling wise. Big Japan Pro Wrestling. The Astronauts,
Yeah,
Takuya Nomura and Fuminori Abe.
I've heard good things from them.
They've been phenomenal this year. Yuma Aoyagi and Kento Miyahara.
Yep.
If
Also great.
they tag, and maybe Tag League helps them, but if they tagged as much as any other of the top teams that people would consider,
Yeah.
I think they'd walk away with it. That is actually a team Meltzer did name, which I was shocked. I was like, my heavens, I'm stunned.
My heavens.
I think looking elsewhere in Japan,
Noah. I don't
Noah's got no
Alpha
one.
Wolf and Dragonbane.
They're pretty sick, but no. I don't think they have anyone. I don't think New Japan Bishamon actually deserves respect. They've
Yeah.
they had a solid year. You know, that's what they do. They don't have a standout, but they have a solid, strong year. If you are going with someone that's just consistent, it might be them.
Aussie Open had a solid first half of the year, but
Yeah. If trios count, then it's Okada, Tanahashi, and Ishii.
I was just about to say that.
The only Stardom team I put is Suzuki and Meisera, and that's because I watched their house shows and they've been really good. And they're like the MVPs of the company because of that. I'm trying to name. I think that's it for Japan that I could think of.
Yeah.
I named Big Japan. That has to be it.
Yeah.
In the States.
In the States, I mean, WWE is probably like what? I don't know.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, probably.
Judgment Day.
No, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
They had a good year. Well, they had a good Owens Zayn Judgment Day match.
Yeah,
like randomly a couple months ago.
Yeah, so I'd probably go with them. AEW.
I don't know. Young Bucks, FTR. I don't like. I really don't consider them, but they're probably the best this year for AEW.
I think I've seen some people say FTR is the favorite. I was like, I don't know about
that. Name what's the best FTR match this year?
Blackpool Combat in the Blackpool Combat Club. Nope, not true. Bullet Club Gold.
I was just about to say probably Bullet Club Gold. Beyond that,
name a non-Bullet Club Gold match.
Yankeroons. Looking at the match guide.
The Bucks match at All In was pretty good.
I'm looking at the match guide. They got the Bullet Club Gold match. They got the Young Bucks match. Adam Cole and MJF versus FTR, and a random collision. That was the
tag title match. That was good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, they would be the team in AEW, I guess.
They had a couple good multi-mans of Punk.
Yeah, I guess it's them by default. The Young Bucks did nothing this year, so
yeah,
I'm not bringing them up.
Aussie
Open technically because they work for them.
Aussie Open, but the last
good start to the year, but they stunk after.
They were fine after, and then Mark Davis got injured, and it was just
twice.
Yeah, so that sort of poo-poos that. Mexico? Anyone in Mexico?
No, there's no consistent teams.
Yeah, we didn't really mention anyone. Any best overall? Mystico.
MVP, Mystico, baby.
Yeah, obviously Mexico MVP has got to be Mystico. But what about in-ring work? Most outstanding for Mystico? Maybe.
I think he could get. Yeah, I think he can get all the awards. Just give him all the awards.
I think Mystico should get all the awards.
I think he should just win.
I would have voted Mystico as tag team of the year.
Any team he was in, it was great.
Promotion of the year. I think this is another conversation that we've sort of had off and on, where it's just sort of like, I don't know.
People don't like it, but it's WWE.
Yeah, I think the problem with that is just it's like WWE has undoubtedly had a great year. It is just comes down to your own personal subjective tastes. If WWE has had a great business year, but if you don't like the product, then it's hard to vote. Like, I'm not a huge WWE fan, so it's like hard to vote for them when I don't necessarily like the product. Other than that, I think the only other contenders for me are like CMLL, who has had a fantastic year all year long, and selling out arenas constantly.
Arena.
arena. To be fair.
It's a singular arena.
Fair enough. The one arena multiple times.
I know they sell it a lot of other places when they go, but it's
And then
Arena Mexico.
all Japan has also had a good year that has slowly built themselves up to fighting against Stardom as like the number 2 company in Japan.
Yeah. It wouldn't. I mean, they're not going to win that fight just because the Bushiroad sizing, crushes everyone.
Next year, Bushiroad and Stardom are gonna be like, all right, let's fight.
That's enough.
That's enough. You had your shot.
I think here's the praise I'll give All Japan. They might have the best match of any company in the big year-end, beginning of the year Japan stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know a match that has as much excitement around it than the Triple Crown title match between Nakajima and Miyahara
at the end of the year.
Yeah, which is on December 31st. So don't fill out those match of the year ballots just yet.
That could be a great topper.
Yeah,
for All Japan's year.
I'll confidently say it will be. I'm very confident in those two,
mm-hmm.
And the story they'll be able to tell. But it will be a great topper, and I'm hoping they do well on the rest of that card.
Yeah,
I think they're bringing in some of DDT. They're DDT's champion. Who the hell is it? Ueno? He's going to be on that show.
I think so. Yes,
he's fighting the junior guys, the top junior guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting. But I think I think my placement would go like WWE 1, CMLL 2, and All Japan or AEW 3. Like AEW, despite my,
another good financial success of a year. It's just booking wise, they've been all over the place.
They had arguably the biggest show of the year.
Yeah,
all in. So.
Easily. And I think that's the frustration that comes down to, I think a lot of these promotion of the year things, it comes down to how much weight do you give financial success for the company? Because then it's easily WWE 1, AEW 2, CMLL you can probably put in there as 3. But then it comes down to subjectiveness. I think AEW's years booking wise has been very spotty. WWE, I'm not fully into it. There's been moments where it makes sense.
Yeah, but they've worked. I know WWE's working. But
it's working for not the hardcores, but it's
working for their fans.
Exactly,
and their fans are the most important part
mm-hmm.
of their puzzle. AEW is not working for their fans. There you go.
Yeah,
that's the best way to make that basis, right?
Yeah. Best on interviews, promos.
Moxley.
What about Punk?
Obviously, he's been great, but people are
not a lot around. But
he had a good run.
Mm-hmm.
The real world champion, Christian Cage.
Ooh, interesting.
Christian Cage has been a great promo this year.
That's an interesting. I kind of like that a lot. I kind of like Christian Cage a lot. Cody, we've already mentioned sort of as well.
Cody, of course. I think Cody will get a lot of votes.
How much votes do you think MJF's going to get?
A decent amount. I think there's still people that like him.
Christian is like a dark horse, I think.
I think Christian might get my vote.
He's had a very strong year on the mic.
Yeah. If Eddie Kingston, obviously.
He could get some votes, sure.
He's just not he wasn't in a prominent spot enough. Danielson. Yeah, I think I would go Christian Cage.
I kind of like Christian Cage a lot because it is like there's a lot of people that are like, oh, they're great, but they're not doing a lot of stuff. Christian has been great consistently all year and has done
just had maybe one of his best this week.
Yeah, so simple. Everything he does is just so simple and so good.
He's so good.
He's like a dark horse. I think he might get it. Best weekly TV show. Obviously, we're talking about NWA on the CW app.
Still, I watched part of Raw the other day. That ain't it, buddy. NXT, not a chance. I mean, NXT might actually get some love because I know it's been a better show this year than it was last year, but
sure,
doesn't make it a good show.
Sure.
SmackDown's probably, I don't know about SmackDown. SmackDown's shorter than Raw. That might help it. But I still think it's probably Dynamite. Or I really like Collision, but I think it's Dynamite still.
Is the CMLL Super Friday show?
That doesn't count as TV.
Doesn't
show.
count.
If
We
it
do it every
did,
week
then
though. It's weekly.
if Super Viernes counted, then we were picking that.
Oh man. Yeah, I would dig in that.
It's still Dynamite.
Yeah, it probably is. Not MLW Fusion.
No.
I heard
Bring
one.
it- ROH Honor Club TV.
Anyways, right before we go, it's 11:30. We definitely have to go, so I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay. We can finish this right.
Okay, match of the year. Last one, match of the year.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
I won't go on personal, and I'm going to go strictly for
ideas,
what I
yeah.
expect people to vote here. I think that's my best way to look at it and not prolong this conversation. Osprey
Japan.
Omega 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think New
Osprey
Japan
Omega 1's going to win, I think.
from Wrestle Kingdom
Yeah,
17.
that's still the better one.
That's probably the best New Japan match of the year.
Yeah. You have the Okada Naito final. You have the Naito Osprey semifinal of the G1.
I think a lot of people like that. Remember that random ass Hanare Shingo match?
Yeah, that ain't getting matched.
I think that's gonna get some votes because people really love that.
Well,
match.
people are delusional.
Yeah.
I name the ones that should be getting votes. Anyone, I think Osprey and Shooter will get a vote or two here.
Okay, I can see that. AEW,
you have Hangman Swerve that just happened.
Yeah, I think that's a late stage runner right there.
And recency bias could push it.
MJF Danielson.
Danielson Starks, I think deserves the praise.
Danielson Okada.
Danielson Okada will probably get some love. Omega and Osprey, obviously.
Too,
from the whatever show.
Forbidden Door.
It's fine. Those are probably the top AEW ones.
Saber Danielson. I'll throw in there.
Saber Danielson as well.
Yeah, that's probably all. WWE. It comes down to taste.
When I'm voting in this, yeah.
Coming down to taste.
But this is just like what people will vote. Yeah. WWE.
Roman Cody
maybe. The tag title main event from WrestleMania.
That was a really good
Kevin
match.
and Sammy. I could see that
really
get some votes. Match. That's probably their match of the year, truthfully. Gunther and something. Did he have a
surely Gunther has a match of the year potential?
The three-way from WrestleMania with McIntyre and Sheamus?
Maybe. Yeah, I went 3 3/4.
All right, well, I'm not asking you.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it was good.
What did Dave give it? That's what these people look for.
Great point. That was WrestleMania Night 2.
He gave it 5 stars, so there you go.
What do you give the Night 1 tag match?
I'm so happy you asked. This is WrestleMania Sunday, bastards. I clicked on the wrong one.
Yeah, they were Night 1.
I understand that. Damn it. Sammy.
He's freaking out.
Folks. I am, because I have a hard out and I need to. What is it? 5 stars. I got 5 stars.
Great.
So yeah, those two matches will be the WWE considerations.
Any other Impact? Osprey, Speedball.
Yeah, they'll probably get some love.
Maybe Stardom. I don't really know. Stardom
match.
is steel cage match is probably the only thing.
The cage match will get the love from their from fans, including myself. But that's the only one. If
the All Japan Miyahara and
Noah has also the Nakajima Miyahara match.
But if that match lives up or exceeds the One Night Dream match, then
definitely,
especially since it's December 31st, that has good chance of getting a lot of votes.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That'll be All Japan's. All Japan has some great matches, but
what was the best match in CMLL this year?
Rocky and
Volador? Rocky
and Mascara Dorada.
Yeah. The anniversary show was kind of a letdown a little bit.
Yeah. For what was a great year. Maybe Dorada or Volador with Rocky. Those would be my 2 choices off the top of my head.
It feels like it's a Rocky match because otherwise they've just been consistent.
That's shout out to Rocky, by the way.
Yeah. Mover and shaker. I think it is. Plugs, match of the week. Scotty. Great.
Match of the week. Danielson and Kingston.
Easy peasy.
We didn't talk about it. And I saw Godzilla -1
Yes.
It was unbelievable. I was crying for like the last like 30 minutes.
Really?
Or not crying, but I had tears in my eyes. It was incredible. That's my recommendation of the week. I'm gonna try to have like a new recommendation of the week for
Sure.
the pop culture freaks out there like myself. It was insane. I saw the love for it. I went on a whim, just went right to it. Theater was packed, by the way.
Yeah.
It was the first time I've been in a packed theater in a very long time. And I go to the movies a decent amount.
And I go.
It was fantastic. Might
Yeah.
be my movie of the year.
Is
I
it-
saw Oppenheimer. I loved Oppenheimer, but this was
Is Godzilla -1 playing in theaters?
yes.
Okay.
That's what I just said. I went to a theater to see it.
Ooh. AMC North.
Highly recommend. If you can do subtitles, you'll be perfectly fine. I'm sure if you're a Japanese wrestling fan, you can do subtitles.
I really want to see a Dream Scenario, the new Nick Cage movie.
I don't like Nick Cage.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
The show just ended, Ryan.
The show's like, all right, well, fuck you.
No. Follow me at Scotty Wrestling on X.
And
I
follow
gave you
me.
all my plugs.
Follow me at Ryan Nicey. I realized the other day I've not seen a single Marvel movie except for Guardians this year. But I only watched Guardians because
That's the only good one.
Yeah, well, it was the only good one, and my wife worked on it, so I had to.
know what the other movies were.
Also, I saw Guardians for free. Now that I think about it, Guardians
yeah.
for free because I went to the press, well, not the press screening, but the crew screening. Good time. I watched it in the very first row of the theater, so my neck is destroyed because of it.
Nice. You're gonna get TV and movie recommendations from me on a weekly basis now.
That's fine. I appreciate it. I love movies. You know what?
Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla -1. My match of the week: Zack Sabre Jr., Mike Bailey. Like I said, I was catching up on New Japan stuff, so Lone Star Shootout, Mike Bailey, Zack Sabre Jr.
That's a lot more recent, at least.
I appreciate it. I only have 2 matches. I have 3 matches left for New Japan to watch to fully catch up from this year that I wanted to watch. So I'll probably finish that up today, maybe, or tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Nicey. Follow Scotty at Scotty Wrestling. Follow the whole show at Countout Pod. That's where you get all of our podcasts. You're Just with Death, Ring Post Radio, Okada Shorts, Stardom Road. Like I said, subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Countout Pod. Like I said, I'm going to try to put out more stuff next year. I have some plans in mind for next year regarding The Observer. That's all I'm going to say. I will be back next week for a massive show. A lot more interesting topics probably next week. We're talking the Continental Classic, Impact Final Resolution, the final pay-per-view for Impact's history. AEW Winter is coming, Ring of Honor Final Battle, Rev Pro Uprising, whatever the hell else happens in the world of professional wrestling. Until next week, we will see you all. Goodbye, everybody.